Salute, General, Iro, Musa, Etiquette. I'm affectionately referred to as General Etiquette, and I've been thinking. I've been thinking about a variety of subject matter, but today specifically, I've been thinking about my Alphaversary, right? And for those of you who don't know, an Alphaversary, right, just like it sounds, is that annual reoccurrence of the day that you were initiated. Now, for me, I am a proud member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, right? And I am an initiate of 413, Nueda chapter, Deuces All Wild. Y'all know what that means. With that being said, I wanted to take time out as I reflect, right? Because every year, an anniversary date comes up, and similarly to birthdays, I believe it most advantageous for the individual to take time out to reflect, right? To reflect. Don't get me wrong. We definitely want to celebrate. We want to celebrate life. We want to celebrate reaching another year of being a part of and or contributing and or processing how that experience has helped shape and change our lives. With that being said, right, I wanted to take a little bit of time to process, right? So every year I stop and I ask myself, right, what does alpha mean to me? What does it mean to be an alpha man? What does it mean to be an alpha at this point in my life? Because as we all do know, if you're not growing, you're regressing. If you're not growing, you're regressing. So with that, right, I also wanted to start with a poem that we hold near and dear to our hearts. Now, it's not specific to alpha, right? But it is specific to a journey that if you are fortunate enough, you'd be able to go on. And it is specific to that particular journey, right? So without further ado, Invictus by William Ernest Henley. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have neither winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloodied but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, or how charged with punishment the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Invictus by William Ernest Henley. Right? So Invictus is a poem that I'm able to draw strength from. It's something that whether I was on my journey or right after that, right, in my later adult years, as I stop and reflect and in retrospect and in hindsight, whenever it is that I need to reach back and draw strength from, right, I'm able to reach to a poem like Invictus. I'm able to think about my journey, think about difficult times that I might have had along the way, and how poems of these sorts were able to allow me to step up, achieve, and overachieve, right? So on this 7th Alphaversary of mine, right, highlighting 7 years in the organization, what I ask myself is, what does it mean to be an alpha man at this juncture, right? How is it that I'm showing up, right? What is the essence? What is my aura, right? Do I carry alpha with me at all times? Right? Is the black and old gold king's gold, to be specific? Is that always properly and hyper represented when I'm around? And then what does that look like and what does that mean? And to me, right, being an alpha and how I look at it in the way in which I have to stand up and the things that I have to do is no different than the way I need to show up as a man. Right. So when we're sitting down making all of these decisions and trying to decide which organization, right, we feel like we align with the most, and the things we want to be associated with and the people that we want to network and connect with and call brothers, what we have to remember is as we get older, for a man, for men. It's about manhood. It's about the way that we show up. It's not necessarily the colors we represent, right? And what it is that we represent specifically. I am a proud and always will be a proud member. But to be an alpha man to me is no different than being a man, right? And a man is determined by the way that he consistently carries himself. The way that he consistently carries himself, both in prosperous and times of peril, right? So what I realized was that in my jewel year, as I process what manhood looks like for me personally, what it means to be an alpha man, what it means to be a man, period, to be a black man, all of these things, they all center and revolve around the same central themes and concepts. To stand up, to be a pillar, to be an example, to be a role model, right? To look at all of the young black children, not as my children, but under the jurisdiction of all of the black adults. Because why? Because we have to start to take a village mentality. So really and truly, what it means to be an alpha man, a black man, and a man in general, they are all converged into one. There is one standard. There is a way that we have to carry ourselves, a way that we have to show up as men. We should be carving and working on our bodies. We should be carving and working on our minds at all times, working on our emotional state, right? Going to therapy so that we can deal with a lot of the hangups that we may have. Because here's what's true. Everybody has something going on with them. We've all, if you've lived long enough, you were traumatized by something happened that's still affecting you, right? And might be inhibiting your growth. And if it's not something that you can actively or proactively point to, right? Maybe just going to see somebody in general is something that'll be able to help you, right? But without straying too far off topic, right? This idea of, in my reflection, as I process what it means to be an alpha, what it means to be a man, what it means to be a black man, I realize they are no different, right? It's a standard. You set a standard, you become a pillar, and you become unmoving and unwavering because your circumstances will change. Fellas, listen to me. Your circumstances will change. You'll have money and then you won't. You'll have women and then you won't. Right, you'll have resources of all sorts, and then you may not. Right, those are the variables. Those are the things that are outside of your control. What you can control, however, is the way you stand up and show up as a man. So in my reflection about my Alphaversary and what it means to me to be an alpha and the immense pride, love, and joy I take in representing the black and old gold, king's gold, to be specific, I realize that the standards of how it is that we need to stand up and carry ourselves should be no different, right? There should be a standard. And all of the things and organizations and affiliations we have are wonderful, incredible, amazing, and should be celebrated. Right? You should dive into that. You should dive deeper into that. All of those things are of uber importance. But what's also true is that the way that we show up as a man or as men in general and in aggregate is what has to be at the forefront of our minds. And that's where my contemplations led me. Remember, I'm not here to make up anybody's mind. I just love to be a part of the conversation. Remember, we're building community through thought-provoking discourse. And remember, if you see me in the street, say what's up, but you probably won't because of the Rona. So I prefer you salute. General, Iro, Musa, etiquette.